Hey guys, welcome back to Games of War. Today's episode is going to be rare gaming items I own. Now, I've been collecting video games for a long time, and like any collector, whether you collect stamps or coins or guns, vinyl records, you enjoy showing your collection to other people and talking about your collection and just sharing the passion for things that you own. So please don't take this video as a bragging video, hey look what I got, look what you don't, you suck, or anything like that. This is just a collector sharing his passion with others, getting some good conversation going, and taking a look at some great items that have been released throughout the decades of gaming. So hope you guys enjoy, and please, if you'd like, leave a video response, comments. I'd love to see what rare gaming items you guys own. This is an open-ended discussion. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy. The only way to begin this video properly is to take it all the way back to where my gaming past began, and that was with the Sega Genesis. I was a die-hard Sega fan as a young kid. I loved the Genesis, the Sega CD, and the 32X, and that is the heart and soul and passion of my collection, is my Sega stuff. Naturally, I'm very proud to still own my original Model 2 Sega Genesis, my Model 2 Sega CD, and 32X, all boxed and pristine. Never got rid of that stuff. But what I'm most proud of from the early days of my Sega collection is as follows. Starting off, we've got a couple of my favorite pieces from my Sega collection. Now this is my original Model 1 Genesis with the Model 1 Sega CD and my original Model 1 Sega CD box. Very proud to still own this stuff. This box sat in my closet for years. Very happy that it never got thrown out, never got lost or damaged. You very rarely see these Model 1 boxes anymore, let alone in this good a shape. And I've always been such a big fan of this box, the look of it. I love the glowing blue. I think the Sega CD unit with the tray out and that shining disc just says, hey, this is the future of gaming. No more cartridges. This is a brand new format CD. This is the best. And back in '92, it was the best. Now, the original Model 1 Genesis has always been my favorite model. I enjoy the high definition graphics. I enjoy the look of the system. It's kind of like a futuristic space shuttle look to it. And I think the Model 1 Sega CD looks brilliant underneath it. Just a great fit. A couple of my favorite looking systems, and I much prefer the boot up music on the original Model Sega CD as opposed to the Model 2. This Model 1 is still working. A lot of them are broken down. The build quality wasn't the best on the original Sega CD, so I'm very happy to still have a working model. The Model 1 Genesis has been through hell and back, and this has never given me any problems. So these are a couple of pieces of my collection I'm very proud to own. Another piece of Sega hardware history that I'm equally proud to own is the CDX. Now, I didn't get this one back in the day. This was kind of a luxury item. It was super expensive. I think it was like $400 at the time. And I still had a Genesis and Sega CD, so trying to convince my parents to buy this for me just wasn't happening. It was kind of one of the things I always stared at when I went in stores but never got. Well, about 5 years ago, I finally buckled down and purchased one, and I really wanted to get one in the box. It was really important to me. So I was able to find a nice mint unit. I mean, this system is flawless. Just a pristine console, very clean, works beautifully, never given me any problems, and the best thing about it is you have one AC adapter as opposed to two giant bricks, three if you got the 32X hooked up. So it's very space convenient, and it looks great, plays all your games, and I really wanted to have a box. This box is in really good shape. Really happy to have this great system that combines two excellent systems in a nice small package. The CDX is a must for Sega collectors. Really proud to have this one as well. One of my favorite collections in the game room is no doubt my Sega Genesis collection. Now, I've been into buying Genesis games since 1990, back before I even knew I was collecting. I just bought games that looked interesting to me and never got rid of them. And the good thing about the Sega Genesis library is that the prices of the games haven't gone to insane prices like the Super Nintendo or some of the other systems out there. Collecting for the Genesis is relatively affordable. I think I've got close to 120 games for the Genesis, so it's tough to single out really rare games that are expensive. I know Musha is pretty pricey. Games like Shining Force 2, Phantasy Star 4, Shadowrun, Mega Turrican are also getting pretty pricey, but for the most part the library is affordable. Some of my favorites on the Genesis that are approaching the mid-price range, which is like $30 to $50, are the Shining Force series, the Incredible Phantasy Star series, Toe Jam and Earl, the Streets of Rage series, Beyond Oasis and Sword of Vermilion. Now you're thinking Sword of Vermilion, that's not really expensive or rare. But my friends, with the hint book that came with it, which is probably the best and most helpful hint book I've seen in a Genesis game, it is truly something special, a great package. All of the renovation shmups, and really I could go on and on. The Genesis is a fantastic system with some rare games that aren't too pricey, very much affordable, so you can dig right in. Another favorite collection of mine is my Sega CD collection. A really misunderstood system. I was there with the Sega CD from the beginning, got one for Christmas the year it came out, and it's got such a fantastic library of titles. And unlike the Genesis, the Sega CD has got some titles that are really expensive. What we have here are the early Sega CD games. Now, before the original big cases that you guys remember and know from the Sega Saturn and Sega CD, the oversized jewel stuff, we had these cardboard boxes. And this was about, I'd say, the first 6 to 8 months the system was on the market. All the games came in these cardboard boxes, and it's getting really hard to find them complete and in good shape. So I'm really happy and proud to own most of the games that came out in the cardboard boxes. There's some great games like Road Avenger and Wonder Dog, just some fantastic early stuff exclusive to the system. The Sega CD is also home to some fantastic role-playing games. All of them are pretty rare. Lunar 1 and 2, my favorite RPG series of all time, Popful Mail Vi, Shining Force CD, and the excellent underrated Dark Wizard. So definitely some rare role-playing games on the system, all worth your time. The 32X was a failed add-on for the Genesis and Sega CD. Now this thing never saw its full potential. Any game that was developed or released for this system had a super short development time, not a lot of resources, everything was rushed, so we never got to see the full potential of the system. I have the unit here boxed in mint condition, and I've got some of the more rare games for the system. I don't have the Spider-Man game because that's upwards of $200 and something, and I just don't feel the game is worth the price it commands. But I do have Knuckles Chaotix, which is only available on the Sega 32X. I've got Calibri, which is a great shooter from the guys that made Echo the Dolphin. I've got Tempo, which is a really underrated platformer with some good music. And I've got the best version of Blackthorn available. So these are some games that are pretty expensive on the system, but still kind of affordable. If you have a 32X, definitely check these out. The Sega Saturn was my go-to system of the 32-bit generation. I fell in love with the system right away. Stall was the first game I played, and I still love to collect and play the system to this day. Now I've got a Model 2 sealed in the box. This has never been played. My Model 1 is completely mint. The box is in great shape. It's got the stickers in there still. Really happy to have a sealed Saturn system just in case anything happens, which for the record, my Model 1 Sega Saturn has never given me any problems whatsoever. But it's nice to have this stuff new in the box and really mint in the box. I've got a boxed Stunner with Virtua Cop. Collecting for the Sega Saturn can get pretty pricey, unfortunately. What you see before you are the final 5 games that were made for the console. These were all released in very limited numbers, so they're quite rare today and pretty expensive. Panzer Dragoon Saga is upwards of $400. Shining Force 3, Burning Rangers, House of the Dead, and Magic Knight Ray Earth are all above the $100 mark, so pretty pricey. I myself pre-ordered these games the minute they were available for pre-order. It was a pretty big deal. This was publicly known that these were going to be the Saturn's last games, so I wasn't going to miss out on these. I still remember driving to the mall to pick up each one. A fitting send-off for the Saturn, a system that was dead too soon in my opinion. These are some rare, great games, and I'm really happy to own these. I gotta give special mention to Christmas Nights. This game was not available in stores or retail, but only through a special giveaway from Sega themselves. I believe it was a mail-in rebate type deal. Not a lot of them were put out, and it's a great to have with the original sleeve. Christmas Nights is excellent around the holidays. Here we have the rest of the Working Designs games made for the Saturn. These all have excellent packaging, great foil covers, embossed, everything is shiny, beautiful color manuals. These games are all pretty rare and sought after on the Saturn, commanding pretty high prices, but they're all fantastic games. Here we have some more of my favorites on the Saturn that are becoming pretty sought after these days. Saturn Bomberman, which is my ultimate favorite Bomberman game, tons of fun with 10 players. Legend of Oasis, the sequel to Beyond Oasis on the Genesis. Lunacy from Atlas, very creepy game, great atmosphere. Guardian Heroes, another personal favorite of mine, and Shining the Holy Ark, the first-person dungeon crawler of the Shining Force series. All really great games. I could go on and on with the Saturn. An expensive system to collect for. I'm not going to even begin to tap into the imports because I would go broke. Great stuff on the Saturn, very happy to have it in the collection. The 3DO is a system that I really enjoyed just before the PlayStation and Saturn came out. I started to do pretty well, but the main thing that held it back initially was its high price point. There are some pretty rare games on the 3DO like Lucian's Quest, and a few others that are really expensive. I don't have anything that's that rare in the system. Star Control 2 is probably the most expensive game and rare that I have. It's a great game. I have it complete with the map. Really cool science fiction RPG. Captain Quasar could have been the mascot for the system. He never was, sadly. Great game. Killing Time was an awesome first-person shooter. And then we have Straw, which is kind of a Dragon's Lair type arcade experience. These are all fantastic games on the 3DO. Not very common and can get pretty pricey. I love the 3DO system. I think it's great for fans of full-motion video games and other science fiction and shooter games. Lots of horrendous full-motion video on the system, which can be a good thing if you're a fan like me. The 3DO is great. The original PlayStation was never really my area of expertise. At the time, I was really hooked on the Saturn, and that turned into the Dreamcast, so I never really delved into the PlayStation library all that much like I should have. I do have some pretty sought-after games for it, though. I've got the working design shooters, Raystorm, Ray Crisis, Thunder Force 5, the excellent Einhander, some of the working designs role-playing games like Vanguard Bandits, and the light gun RPG hybrid, Elemental Gearbolt. I've got the Great Herc's Adventures. I like the Parasite Eve games. I've got 1 and 2. And I do like the Fear Effect games. I've got 1 and 2 on there. Vanguard Story, a great RPG from Square. A lot of Square RPGs I'm missing, but the original PlayStation is a fantastic system and great for collectors. The Atari Jaguar. Now this is a system that I played at friends' house a lot back in the day, but never really owned one. So I'm really happy to own a nice mint-in-box Atari Jaguar system. In terms of games, I have a handful of box-to-complete games, but nothing rare other than Alien vs. Predator, which still commands a pretty high price tag. This copy is boxed, mint, and complete with all the overlays, and it's still in the shrink wrap with a small slit at the top opened up to get the game out. Not too much else to say about the Jaguar. It's a pretty good system. Now this is one that I really regret. I had a lot of great Dreamcast games that have really gone up in price, and I ended up getting rid of them not too long ago to help pay for some bills. Games like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, my Giga Wing, Mars Matrix. It really hurts to talk about it, but I still have some excellent games that are pretty rare and sought after in terms of Dreamcast standards. Titles like Grandia 2, D2, Shenmue, my favorite game on the Dreamcast, sort of Berserk Guts Rage, which I got this awesome statue. The Dreamcast is a fantastic system to collect for. Some great games that are going up in price, unfortunately, but a lot of them are well worth it. The Dreamcast definitely is a great system. Very much like the PlayStation 1, I wasn't into the PS2 right out of the gate. I was still very upset over the death of the Dreamcast, and I saw the Xbox as kind of a fresh start with a lot of Sega support early on, so I ignored the PS2 for quite some time, and I really missed out on a lot of great games. So I don't have much rare stuff in the way of PlayStation 2. I do have my Vanillaware games, Odin Sphere and Grim Grimmar. These are the guys that did the Muramasa and Dragon Crown games. They've all got that distinct art style. These games aren't terribly rare, but they are sought after in nice pristine condition like this. And same with my Tales games. You guys know me, I'm a huge Tales of fan, and these are a couple of great entries on the PS2, Tales of the Abyss and Tales of Legendia. Not too terribly expensive, but definitely sought after. The next batch of games are some of my personal favorites. Now let's get Ruler Rose out of the way. This game is getting pretty pricey these days. I've seen prices upwards of $80 to $100. It's a survival horror game done by Atlas. Same with Haunting Ground. Now when Haunting Ground first came out, it got horrible reviews and it was pretty much ignored. However, people over time are realizing what an excellent game it is, kind of a spiritual successor to the Clock Tower games, and it's starting to go up in value. A great survival horror game on the PlayStation 2. Now Drakengard 1 and 2 aren't the most expensive games. However, Nier is really gaining cult status. Everybody's finding out that it's an amazing game, and they're going to be interested in the backstories of the other games in the series, which is Drakengard 1 and 2. Now, Nier's story picks up after one of the multiple endings in Drakengard 1. So they're all tied together in a strange universe. Excellent games. I've always loved the Drakengard games. Snap them up while you can before they start going up in price, because I think they will. As for the GameCube, I don't own many rare games at all. Skies of Arcadia Legends is a nice reimagining of the Dreamcast classic, a great RPG that's starting to climb up and get a little more expensive. And Eternal Darkness, which is a great horror game. The insanity effects are awesome in this game. Both of these games are great on the GameCube and well worth owning. The original Xbox was home to one of the coolest game and game controllers ever made in existence. and that is the original Steel Battalion. Now I got really lucky. A buddy of mine owned this and he had hardly played it. It was up in his attic just collecting dust and he just wanted to get rid of it. So I ended up getting the entire unit, almost brand new in the box, for $50. It comes with this awesome controller here. It's got the foot pedals, the big green army box. This is a great original game on the Xbox. Definitely takes a lot of time to master, but it is quite rare and it is in great condition. I'm really happy to have this in the collection. Other than Steel Battalion, I can't really think of any other game that is really super rare or expensive on the original Xbox. I own close to 140 games for the system, and most of them are pretty affordable. There is Fatal Frame 1 and 2 and Conquer, and a few of the Sega games like Panzer Dragoon Orta that might be climbing up in price a little bit, but for the most part the library is extremely affordable, making it a great time to dive into Xbox collecting because most of the games can be had for pretty cheap. Now this is the Collector's Edition, limited edition see-through green original Xbox, a really cool piece to have for sure. The Xbox was a great console. In terms of rare games for the Nintendo Wii, I own Xenoblade Chronicles. And at the time, this game was only sold at GameStop and was sold out, going up in value considerably. However, GameStop pulled a mysterious reprinting and the game becomes somewhat more affordable. However, those copies I've seen at GameStop have all been opened. They've been sitting in disc sleeves, so I'm happy that I got this game when I did and was able to get a factory sealed copy. The other Project Rainfall games are just as excellent. We've got Pandora's Tower and The Last Story. Both will do nothing but go up in value, I'm sure of it. And then we've got the also excellent Ark-Rise Fantasia. This is another great game on the Wii, an RPG that I don't see in many stores. So for rare games on the Wii, this is what I have to offer, and I'm proud to own everything here. The Game Boy Advance is an amazing handheld from Nintendo. I've got a real nice mint unit here in the box, and I specifically wanted this model due to the extra backlit screen. It really makes a difference. The game before you here is Ninja 5-0, which is quite possibly the most expensive and rare Game Boy Advance game out there. This game tops prices at $350 to $400, just an insane amount of money. This game was hard to find when it first came out, and it's an excellent game, a mixture of Shinobi and Bionic Commando, so it's even more sought after now. An amazing game. The Golden Sun games are some of my favorite RPGs in the Game Boy Advance. The first two came out on the GBA, the third one here is on the DS. Now these games really push the Game Boy Advance to its limits. The game is a direct sequel in The Lost Sun that picks up right where the first game left off, playing as the bad guys this time around. An amazing RPG series that's pretty sought after for the Game Boy Advance. The third one, while not quite as good as the first two, a really solid entry on the DS. Also on the Game Boy Advance is the amazing Breath of Fire series. This is the first and second entries in Capcom's long dormant RPG series. No, I'm not counting that mobile piece of trash. These games are great on the Game Boy Advance, and this is the Castlevania Double Pack. This is a pretty limited run, combining two of my favorite Game Boy Advance Castlevania games into one package, Harmony of Dissonance and Area of Sorrow. All these are pretty sought after and well worth your time tracking down. The Nintendo DS is one of my favorite handhelds of all time. I've spent hundreds of hours playing all of the excellent role-playing games available for the system. Some of the rare games that I have in my collection are the excellent Luminous Art games, strategy RPGs. The second one is a nice little box set with the CD soundtrack. We've got the excellent Infinite Space, a massive role-playing game on the DS. We've got Radiant Historia, the first print run. This game is extremely sought after. It caused Atlas to do a second print run. This is the first print run with the CD soundtrack, nice little box set. Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, probably my favorite Shin Megami Tensei game. It's just got such an awesome storyline. This little set comes with a box set, CD soundtrack. I'm going to cut the bullshit and leave the obvious out. Of course the Dragon Quest games are amazing on the DS, but they're more the well-known games for the system, as well as Chrono Trigger. Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 are all beautifully represented on the system. Chrono Trigger is a timeless classic. We've also got some more rare gems that not a lot of people know about. We've got games like Black Sigil. We've got Solo to Robo, which is a nice little box set with the CD soundtrack. The very quirky Contact by Grasshopper. Super Robo Taisen Endless Frontier, which is kind of like the precursor to the Project Cross Zone on the 3DS. Avalon Code, which I recently reviewed on the channel. Just some great quirky RPGs. These are all pretty sought after and doing nothing but going up in price. So if you're after these DS RPGs, snap them up while you can. The DS is a fantastic system with a huge library of amazing games. The PlayStation Portable is another amazing handheld. In terms of rare games, man, there's not really anything that stand out rare and super expensive. All of the collector's editions, all the Ease games and the Lunar and the Legend of Heroes are getting pretty sought after. I just uploaded my PlayStation Portable collection not too long ago to the channel, so check it out if you need ideas. But in terms of ultra rare and expensive games, it's tough to single one out. There's so many amazing RPGs in the system, and they're all pretty affordable right now. This is the limited edition Red and Black God of War PSP. I still have this sealed. This is going up in value, becoming quite sought after. PlayStation Portable fans, RPG fans, there's a lot to love with this system. Definitely check out my collection for any ideas that you might need. The new handhelds haven't been out too long to garner much like super rare games. I do have a sealed in box limited edition Zelda 3DS and a limited edition Yoshi 3DS. These are both new in the box. Cave Story with the original lenticular cover is starting to get pretty pricey. Other than that, I've got most of the collector's editions on the 3DS, and some of those are getting pretty sought after with CD soundtracks and bonus posters. The highlight probably being the Bravely Default Collector's Edition. Really happy to have been able to got that. I am missing the Kingdom Hearts Mark of Mastery Edition. Really bummed that I missed that, but other than that, I'm really happy with some great rare collector's editions on the 3DS. The PlayStation Vita is one of my favorite handhelds ever made. The screen on this thing is gorgeous. I hope you guys were able to get one of the original models before they're all gone. This is the limited edition white PlayStation Vita, still sealed in the box. This is getting pretty sought after and climbing up in value rather quickly. Now in terms of games for the PlayStation Vita, with it not being out that long, there's nothing really super rare and expensive. I do, however, own most of the collector's editions that were available for the system. Some of them, like Demon Gaze, were only available on the publisher's website, so I'm sure they will do nothing but go up in value. I'm really proud of all my limited edition box sets on the Vita. There's some great stuff. The Ease box set is gorgeous, tons of great stuff in there, as is the Muramasa box set. Both Ragnarok Odyssey and Ragnarok Odyssey Ace. The Sorcery Saga, a nice little quirky roguelike. It's got an excellent special edition, very much in the vein of Catherine, with a bib and a little tray and a spoon. Some great limited editions on the PlayStation Vita, and tons more coming out for the system. Some exclusive to the developer's website, so please guys, check up on them. If you want them, get them before they're gone. The Vita is an amazing handheld. Xbox 360. I do own a brand new in the box, sealed Halo 4 edition model 360. This is a backup system. I think this is a pretty cool collectible item that will do nothing but go up in value. A great looking system. Like the original Xbox, I own over 100 Xbox 360 games. The system, it's still being on the market today. There's not that many games that are rare and hard to find right now. I do have all 3 collector's editions of the Fable games, some of my favorite games on the system. I'm also very proud to own the very early RPGs that came out for the 360. Games like Blue Dragon, Infinite Undiscovery, Lost Odyssey, Magna Carta 2, Tales of Vesperia, which is one of my favorite RPGs of the generation, the very early Enchanted Arms, The Last Remnant, which never saw a release anywhere else. It was supposed to come out on PS3. These are all really solid RPGs in the system and worth owning for collectors. The PlayStation 3 is also a system I'm very fond of. I've got well over 100 games for that console as well, and the PlayStation 3 has been a bit more of a collectible system for me personally. I own the very early Gunmetal Gray PS3 that's still sealed in the box. I also own the Red God of War PS3 that's sealed in the box. And as far as RPGs in the PS3, I own a number of the awesome limited editions on the system. Games like Final Fantasy 13-2 and Lightning Returns special editions. The Lightning Returns you can only get off the Square Enix website. The Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 special editions. The amazing Drakengard 3 special edition that was only available on the Enix website for a very short time. The Tales games, I love my Tales. I've got Symphonia and Exilia collector's editions. Symphonia was a numbered edition, not many made of that either. And great early games like Folklore and Valkyria Chronicles, Resonance of Fate. Nier is one of my favorite games of the generation. There's something for everyone on the PlayStation 3, and it's got truly an amazing library of games. As much as I love gaming, I also love collecting limited edition statues and other statue-related video game items. Whether they come with the collector's editions and games or I buy them separately, I've got awesome pieces like Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us, I've got the Songbird from BioShock Infinite. I've got Solange from Code of Princess, awesome Kratos, Nathan Drake statues, Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, even the Luigi from Club Nintendo, which I got a really low number. I actually got 135 out of 5,000. I was really happy to get that. I usually don't get the low numbered stuff. The Dead Space 3 Dev Team Edition, which is only available on the website for a very limited time, only 5,000 of those made. Really amassing quite a collection of statues and collectibles, collector's editions, and I'm really happy with all of them. I had them displayed all over the room, and I really think they add a lot to the game room. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the support. I'd love to hear or see what kind of items you have in your collection, what rare games or statues. Thanks for watching, guys. Games of War is nothing without you.